Welcome and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Wandering Watercolor. Today we are painting over the 5th page of the Quaint Scenery watercolor coloring book. I make it all myself. If you're here because you purchased it from me at one of the markets, thank you. I appreciate your support. I work very hard on these watercoloring books, so thank you. And if you're interested in purchasing one, it'll be in the description. And if you just want to paint along with us, then you could just kind of pause the image that we'll be painting. At the beginning, you could just pause it, and then once you're finished drawing it, just continue playing it and painting along with us. So let's get over to the painting table. So this is the image that we are painting today. And basically this is what it'll look like once it's finished. There's a lot of green in this image. There's a ton of green. What I'm using is the same watercolor palette always. It's the one that I make. It's a little pocket palette that I make. So if you purchased it from me along with the watercoloring book, this is what I'm using. And I'm using this little brush that comes along in the palette. If you want one of these, the description, the link is in the description. And this is the brush. I always use a rag. Any rag will do. You can cut up an old white cotton shirt or buy them from Home Depot or a hardware store. I use this little soap dish as my mixing palette or mixing plate. You can also just use a regular porcelain plate. They're all 100% non-toxic, 100% washable. Also, just have just a scrap piece of paper just to test some colors on, along with a jar of water, just so that you're not using the little reservoir, because then that can take up a lot of time refilling it as you're painting. So we'll get right to it. First thing we'll do is we will paint this background tree here and here. We'll grab this green color, and then we'll kind of dilute it, and we will also grab a little bit of brown just to throw in here. Maybe some of this yellow, the darker yellow, just to mix it up, and maybe a little brown. That's good enough. We'll get a bunch of water because we don't want it to be too concentrated. Otherwise it'll look too dark if it's too concentrated. Remember, in a watercolor painting, the white in the background is pretty much the light that'll be in your piece. So here we go. We're gonna start right here. Avoid this little bush here in front of the background tree. And just doing a flat wash. We're not going for any texture. We're just coloring it in all the way through. And try to be careful not to get it on the house. Just keep going. If you have a different brush, like a bigger brush that holds a lot more water, that'll probably be much easier. I'm just using this one because it's what I give in the little palettes. And I want people to know how to use it and to make sure they're aware that you can do absolutely any of the pages with that brush. Okay, we're filling it in, filling it in more. And we're trying to keep it, like, there's some light spots here, so that's why I left like the light peeking through from the background or from behind the tree. So there are some spots where I leave like a little bit of white to show that light peeking through, and just basically continuing on all the way, covering that entire tree. Okay, here we go, and here, and here. Okay. There we go. Pretty simple. Okay, and then also just back here, all of this. Okay, that's perfect. All right. That should dry fairly quick. It's a very thin wash, but while that's happening, we'll go ahead and we'll grab this yellow here. I have a bad habit of not cleaning out my little pans, so just grab the yellow. Okay. Grab a little bit of green. A little bit of green. It makes a very nice yellow-green, but I'm going to grab this darker yellow here as well. And mix up the color. Mix it up. And that's pretty... it's too... looks too much like a highlighter. I don't like that. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the brown, throw that in, make it... yeah, that's better. Okay, so we're good with that. And now I'm just gonna maybe a little, just a tinge more green. Okay, perfect. I'm good with this. I'm gonna grab enough water so that it's not too heavily concentrated, and then just kind of put a wash right here in this one. Grab more. Just right in front of the previous wash. Now here I'm going to be careful to leave some of these dots. These blobby kind of dots are actually flowers, which we'll go ahead and we'll color in. They're red. They're kind of like a faint red. We'll kind of leave that like that. These little parts right here, that's a darker colored bush that's up against the house, so we will leave that. Okay, so that's good. We will also go ahead and grab the same exact color and cover in this. This is kind of like a wall, garden wall, made out of some kind of shrubbery. And then right here, also right here. Okay, so far so good on all of that, and yeah, that's fine. Next, what we'll do is this color right here. We'll go ahead and we'll put in brown in it, and that's actually just about exactly what I need. I'll go ahead and now color in this. Now this has some white, I mean not white. This shrub has yellow flowers, so I'm kind of being cognizant of leaving white spots for where those flowers are. And then just continuing with the flat wash all through here. Like that. Like that. And all throughout. Just like that. Okay, and the same exact color is going to be used right here. Just the whole thing. This one we're not that worried about. Maybe a little more pigment towards the bottom. and then rinse off my brush, dry it off a little, and just kind of create a little gradation at the top here. Rinse that off. So we've covered a lot of ground so far relatively quickly. I'm just taking off my jacket here. Got kind of hot in the room again. So yeah, so we've covered a lot of ground relatively quick. We'll go ahead and we'll get some of this color, maybe some of this. And then we will put that in right here. Maybe a little more like that. Yeah. All around. There are some little spots that I'm leaving for red flowers in the shrub in front of the house. That's directly touching the house. Like that. Okay, like that. And then also right here, and right here, and right here. I'm gonna leave some spots for some yellow flowers here. And rinse off my brush. Next, we need to get a little more green here, and maybe a little more of this yellow. A little more yellow. This is going to be the color of the ground, or basically the grass right here. And again, just a flat wash, not needing anything more than that, just a flat wash. Same right here. And right here, this bush kind of goes down and then up again, so I'm just filling it in right there. Maybe fill in a little right there. I messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. And we're going to take this and go with this little bush right there. And the same right here and right here. And rinse that off. And I'm actually going to get a little bit of this gray here, put it on the side, and mix it in with some of this teal green mix. And then I'm going to use this exact color to cover the roof. Cover the roof right there. And right there. And right there. Just the whole roof. Just a flat wash. Very even kind of wash. Okay, that's the roof. So we have the roof covered. Good on that. Yeah, ton of green in this one. Okay, I'm just gonna switch out my plate here for a fresh one so I don't have to take up extra time rinsing them out. Or not rinsing them out, but just cleaning them out. So next we are going to focus on the color that makes up the house. It's kind of a beige, pinkish kind of, well, here's the reference image again. It's just basically a kind of like a beige, like a brown brown pink or a beige, reddish beige. Just kind of experimenting here, mixing it up, trying to get to that color. Let's see. Maybe a little red. So that's not too far off, but let me put a little bit of this yellow here. Let me see how that goes. It's a little better, very close to that color. Let me do a couple of test strokes here on my scrap paper. It needs more red. The trick is not to make it too red, because if we do, then it'll be a big clash, because it's all this green, and if you put a lot of red in here, then it's kind of like a clash. They're competing for your attention because they're complementary colors. So you want to make it more subtle. Like, that's close. Let me get more brown. You know what? Let me add some white. I know that'll help kind of. That's what we're missing. I don't really like using white, but it helps with the mixing of some colors. I'm pretty sure we could have gotten the same color without using white, but it's just easier to conceptualize how exactly to get the color and how we arrived at it. Get a little more. Like, that's still not. Yeah, probably more white. Like, you can see, kind of like judging these two colors, like we're getting closer to our target. But might need actually a bunch of white. I probably put too much pigment of the other kind. So we're just gonna go like that. A little more. That's probably pretty close. Considering the fact that watercolors dry much lighter, then I would say we're very close to the exact color that we're looking for. I don't even know what to call this color. I'm sure there's a specific name for it, but okay, so I'm just going to add a bunch of water here on the side and kind of dilute it to make it. Yeah, that's probably good enough. Okay. So just carefully, we're going to go in and we're going to cover the underneath of the roof. I'm going to cover all the brick areas. I'm going to watch out for the frame of the window. I'm going to leave that as it is. And go straight down. This board right here that's kind of dividing the upper from the lower level, we're just going to paint right over it because we will be painting it a much darker color later on, but still avoiding the frame of the window. Okay, and just keep going. Just laying it all in very carefully. I probably made that darker than I wanted it to, but that's okay. Not a big deal. Probably wanted this to be darker than this, but we can fix that after we finish laying down the flat color. It's not a problem at all. And go all the way in right here. And right there. same for right here. Cover the underneath of the roof. Okay, and we're almost done here. Almost. We're gonna cover this right here. There we go. Not bad. Oh, wait. Can't forget the chimney. Almost forgot the chimney. And I'm just gonna lay it in all completely. There's some different colors in the chimney that we'll add later. We're just gonna lay it all in, because remember, this is just the base color. And like that. Okay. Here, rinse off my brush. Looking pretty good. And next, we want to fill in this path right here. It's more yellow brown, a little brown, something like that, but that's too vibrant. Let me see, I'm gonna put a little more yellow, and actually I'm gonna put a slight dab of green in there. Just a dab. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. I'm gonna pick up some of the color, rinse it off, pick it up, rinse it off, and then just add water. This is probably, yeah, this looks pretty close to the color that we want. So we'll go ahead and we'll lay that in just as a path. Slowly right in there. Going right in, over here. And also right here. And it kind of stops right there. I had forgotten to put more green back here, but that's okay. That is totally fine. While this and this is drying, we can go back in and focus right there on the background tree. I can just switch out my plates here. If you have like a large plate that you're using, it's probably easier because you have a lot more space to work with. I use plates often, honestly. Just pick one up right out of the kitchen cupboard. Okay. So I'm going to get some more of this green, mix that in here, and maybe a little brown. Try to make it darker so we can emphasize the shadows, but we're going to need more green also. So just kind of mix it all in, and okay, that's looking pretty good. All right. Okay, there we go. Color that in, and I'm just kind of making, honestly, I'm just kind of making blobs and making, like, imagine kind of like filling in and going like this, kind of like blobs, and maybe, because the light is coming from the top, but leaves kind of tend to layer, almost like scales. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just putting in a bunch, and we'll be making 2 layers of shadow just for the reference. For now, we're just kind of layering we're putting in the first layer of shadow for this background tree, and the light is coming mainly from the top at a slight angle from the left, and so that's what we're imagining here. All of this is going to be dark right here, just all like that. I know it looks very dark right now, but trust me, it'll dry light. So don't worry about it too much. Just kind of like that. Like that. Okay. So there it goes. Okay. Maybe a little more down here just because it's closer to the ground, and I'm going to add more distinction. So it's like not as much of the light hitting it. I think that looks a little better. It'll look even better when it dries. Okay, and just continue going. Some dark spots. And shadow, just keep layering it in. Just kind of ripples. Just like a regular tree, you know, just think about what a tree looks like, and if you look at it from the distance, how the shadows kind of ripple through. Here we go. Okay, I'm going in. Okay. And just filling it in, just carefully around the chimney so that you don't, even if you get a little bit, you know, don't worry about it. It's not too big a deal. I got a little bit in there as I was painting right next to it. That's okay. Okay. So like that. And there's more down here, like more dark, more shadow down here. Okay, so we're going in, covering in. There we go. And like that. Okay, filling it all in like that, like that. And okay, that looks good. And we're gonna add a little more, maybe right here. We'll have to mix a different green to do a second layer of shadows for this, so I just wanted to put in a little more. That's fine. We could just forget that for now. We can go ahead and move in to, actually I need to make this darker. I'm gonna put a little more brown. There we go. A little darker. Maybe a little more green also, just because it's too liquidy. There's too much water in it, so this will make it a little more opaque. So the first thing is these two right here. I'm just going to completely cover them. They are completely enveloped in shadow. So that's fine. And then make some shadows for the leaves here. Like that. Okay. And go like this. Go like this. Okay, on here. And again, just kind of making some short marks, kind of like sporadically putting the color down. It doesn't need to be perfect, but adding some like playfulness to how the shadow appears just makes it look, there's a certain amount of very fascinating, almost like organized chaos in nature. When you look at leaves and how they behave, and or really any aspect of nature, it looks like chaos at first, but then pay attention to it and it's just like extremely harmonious. It's not to get too philosophical or poetic, but that's basically kind of like, we wanted a degree of chaos while maintaining the order of the look that we're going for. So I'm gonna do that here as well, just a little bit, kind of like that. Just there we go. Okay. And going along, keeping in mind that there are yellow flowers in here, trying not to obstruct the little dots here, the little dots of white that we've left for the flowers. And just doing some more strokes, just kind of like sporadically just throwing them in, short strokes, a little bit of a curve to them, just so that it shows how the form of the clump of leaves looks on the bush. Just all like that. And this one, so there's a lot more dark here, so we'll go like that. Kind of build it up from there. Okay, so pretty good. We're doing good on time as far as building up this very complex image. Get a little of this green, or this yellow, mix it in with the green. Make it kind of like a yellow green. And so this is what, so it's too bright. I'm just gonna do a little bit of brown. There we go. And a lot more yellow. There we go. So this is a good shade color for this bush right here. And just kind of like short bursts of what I think the shadow of a clump of leaves might look like. Remember, we're going for clumps. We're not trying to paint the shadow of each and every leaf, because, well, one, that'll take forever, and two, it actually won't look good. Going like that. And like that. Okay. And then also for this wall, this garden wall right here, just kind of like stipple it in, just maybe make some dabbing in the shadows, kind of like that. And that's that. I am gonna put a little bit kind of like shadow here for this bush, a little shadow for this one, and maybe some just down here, kind of like that, and some suggestion of blades of grass, just very gently, just like that. Almost like dots, but just like very short, very short strokes. Just to show, like, hey, here's some grass. Okay, not bad. Coming along pretty good so far. And I'm gonna switch over to another, not this one, I'm gonna get a clean one and just put it right there. Okay. Next, what we want is we're gonna get this green just straight out of the palette, and we're going to put a little bit of this black in it. Looks good. And I'm actually gonna pick up some of it and rinse it off, dilute it a little bit with water, and I'm going to outline right here the white part of the roof, right there, right here, and here, all across this pipe, and go right up here, right down here. Okay, that's it. I'm good on that. Next, I'm actually gonna get just straight brown, kind of mix it in with the water from the brush, and I'm gonna lay it in as the frame of the windows. Just directly lay it in, and that's for all of the windows. Right here. This window as well. And also this window. Okay. Good on that. Now we're gonna get the brown again, mix it in, but this time we are going to get some of the green and mix it in, make it a little more earth toned brown, more earthly looking brown. And we're going to lay it all in right here in this little, I'm not even entirely sure what that is. It looks like a little thing for the window up here, maybe like a garden bed. Either way, I'm gonna rinse that off. I put a little too much, so I'm gonna dry off my brush and then go right over it and pick up any excess and do the same thing several times. Dry off the brush, go right over it, dry it off. Okay, that's good so far. Now then, I'm going to do some of the accents of the house, basically where there's boards and also the underneath of the roof. I'm just gonna grab a bunch of brown, heavy on the pigment, and then go straight for the burgundy, also heavy on the pigment. Okay, so that's brown and burgundy. No, that's a piece of brown. That's it's too vibrant, so maybe a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna go a little bit of a dark blue, just a little bit. There we go, a little more. That's better. Okay, so what we're doing here is, first I'm gonna get this part right here underneath, straight through just like that. All right. And the same thing, there's a line right here in the roof. We're gonna apply that right there, or in the chimney, I should say. So we're good there. And I'm gonna do another line just straight across right here, the board that's separating the first and the second level. We're also going to outline the corner of the house, the same color. I'm gonna go down here and then over here. And the corner of the house again. And right here. And on the other side. I'm actually going to put a little bit of the same color into the side. Right here. I'm going to do the same for this window. Actually, the same for this window too. And then there's a board right here. This corner right here. Like that. That. Okay. I'm gonna cover the underneath right here. And right here. I'm going to cover all of this because it's darker, it's kind of in the background. So far so good. I'm going to rinse that off. And actually I'm going to come back here to this color. I'm going to get more brown, a little bit of blue, more blue, and a little bit of green. Okay. That's good right there. So that will be the color that I use to outline underneath that wooden flower bed or whatever that is. And I'm actually going to outline right there, maybe right there. Okay, so that's looking pretty good so far. I am going to get a little bit of just straight yellow right here, darker yellow. I'm going to go over the frames of the window sills, or the window frames basically. I just realized that that color came out too close to the house. The color is too close to the color of the house. So I'm just going to go back over some of these frames. Try to change the color a little bit. And also, right on the top of the house, there's a little ridge, and it outlines the chimney a little bit, but I'm going to run that right across there too. So just, yep, just like that. So that's good. And next, let's get into some of the flowers. So basically, I'm just going to get the red, rinse it off, or not rinse it off, dilute it a little bit with water. And I'm just going to go straight in right here. Just a dab there, just color in, dab, color in, and coloring in, more right there. Okay, and then coloring in here. Okay. And same for this bed right here. Bed of flowers, just coloring it in. Color it in red. right here. I'm actually gonna pick up a bunch of this color, maybe with my rag. This color is supposed to be a little more orange, so that's fine. We can just hit it with the yellow right on top of that. Rinse my brush and then just get straight from the dark yellow or darker yellow and go in right there, right there, right there, and right there. Here, here, here. Okay. Fill it all in like that. There we go. And then fill in this right here. Same color. It'll come out looking a little more yellow with the red that's underneath it, or a little more orange. Okay. Looking pretty good. But we want to emphasize some of the darker colors. So next we just go straight for the black. Just straight for the black. Go a little right there. Right there, right there, right there. Okay, right there. And this is inside of the house. It's during daytime and there's no light from inside of the house, so it's just pitch black in there. Go like that, that. Okay, covering all that in. Okay. Cool. All right, so that helps a lot. And even though that's pitch black, it'll also look lighter when it dries. Now we have to do another layer over here for the dark green. We'll go back and switch to our dark green palette here, or mixing plate. These are very useful if you get a bunch of them, and they're super cheap at the store. I mean super cheap. I think one of these is like $2. Or at least they are in my local Walmart. Pretty sure I got these from Walmart. Although I have seen them at different stores, little soap dishes. Okay, so do that and then grab some of the brown. Okay, that's good. Alright, I'm gonna try to cancel out this white line right there. Just going immediately right in, like this. And okay, filling it in. And This time, nowhere near as much as what we did initially, and because these are really dark darks that I'm putting in, so you don't want to just completely overpower the other shadow that's in here. This is more for emphasis of the really dark areas, specifically because it's all the way in the back. And also remember, it will look lighter when it dries. That should be something that's always in the back of your head when using watercolor, is that the color will dry much lighter. Whatever it is, even if it's pure black, it'll still dry much lighter, and some of that white of the paper will show through and make it appear lighter. Unless you do several consistent opaque kind of like pigment layers, then you can actually get some really dark tones, if that's what you're going for. Okay, and there we go. Just a little bit there, not all over. Let's see. Always feel free to take a moment, step back, and see how it looks. And so far, pretty good. We did a lot. I mean, we did a lot on this so far. And I'd say we maybe have like another 10 or 15 minutes of layering, and then we'll be done. Feel free to stop at any point and walk away and then come back to it. I'm used to painting all day anyway, so this is kind of easy for me. But if you're new to it, definitely feel free to just step away from it for a moment. And when you get back to it, it'll help you see things and make it look better. Okay, so next thing that we will be focusing on is the shadows in the house. Or actually, if I tilt this a little bit, I can see where there's some reflection off of the parts that are not completely dry. So instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and do the sky. And then let's see, I'm going to get another clean plate. And I'm just going to grab this blue right here. And just lay it in right down here. Nice and slow. And I'm gonna put a bit of a gradient on this color going up. I'm just gonna get some water and just kind of pull it up. And some more water. Did not realize that there were some, I guess, splatters of red over here. Either way, that's it. That's that. And when it dries, it will dry much lighter. Okay. Next, let's see. I'm thinking about the shadow. I might use this actually, this color. The way we're gonna do that is I'm gonna get some of this green and get some of this black, mix them up, and some more of the green. And mix them up, mix them together, with plenty of water. I'm gonna put some brown in there. I don't like that shadow. The reason being is I don't want it to get lost in the image because there's already so much green in here. I figured if I put a little bit of greener hue as the shadow for the house, it'll help that look more like a shadow, but I don't want it to get lost in the image due to the heavy amount of green in there. So kind of neutralizing it. There's still a slight shade of green. It's just it's very dark. Okay, let me do a couple of tests here on the scrap paper. So that's not bad. It's just too heavily pigmented. So I'm just gonna get a bunch of water, just drop it in right here, and see what that looks like. More like that. That's better. I'm not gonna go straight down because the water kind of pulls down here, so I'm just gonna go more off the top here. But that's pretty good. That's a good shadow color. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So, okay, when we put down the shadow, I'm gonna go on the entire side here, this side of the house, right here. I'm just gonna go straight down and try not to rub it in because you'll pick up the color underneath. So basically what we're doing is we're going straight down like this and getting more straight down. Just one stroke, just like that. Now I'm gonna rub off my brush a little bit here and then pick this up, because I did end up picking up some of the color underneath. But that's basically the idea. You immediately looks like you have a shadow there. Like, it's very easily distinguished. And so I'm gonna do the same for right underneath here. I'm gonna put a little shadow from the roof, a little shadow from the bush that's climbing up the side here, a little shadow there from the windowsill, and a little shadow right here. I'm gonna dry off my brush a little bit, right here, and also a little shadow right here. There we go. A little shadow on the side of the chimney. It's good enough. And that's gonna be going kind of like this, cutting in. There we go. You can kind of like see it coming down like that. And I might do another layer right here. And underneath. Okay, and right there. Oh, also maybe just a couple of strokes right here, just where there's already lines for the tiles on the roof. Just kind of outline them with that same shadow color. And I'll go back to my green here. Add a little bit of green and then just throw that in there. And rinse off my brush. And there we go. The whole image all painted. Phew. That's a complicated one. Good job if you stuck all the way through. That's yeah, I'm happy with that one. All right. So yeah, that was pretty much it for that one. If you stuck with me all the way through, thank you, and hopefully yours turned out just as well. And Feel free to tag me like in social media like Instagram, and or just share the image with me, like drop it in a comment. I'll look at the link. It's a complicated image, so not bad. I'll post another one here pretty soon, and thank you again for everyone that bought this watercoloring book. I work hard on them, so it's always nice when they're appreciated. And I'll have another video for you, another tutorial here up pretty soon, and thank you. I'll see you next time.